Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Now, wherever you're watching us from all over the world, I wonder what the weather was like in your side of town, in your neck of the woods, because here in Lagos, southwest of the country, where we're broadcasting from, it was fit to rain cat and dogs this morning. The sky was as black as you can imagine, and then it all came down. And then very, very shortly, it all lifted. So what was that, as we say locally, shakara all about? Sort of a meteorological shakara. But anyhow, it's all nice and cool, which I'm afraid we can't say of the situation in Ekiti. Because as you know, talking about APC, I'm sure all of Ekiti is all nice and cool. But now when we come to particular compartments, the APC primaries, two things. Number one, APC World Congress is up and down the land. APC authorities have said they're very pleased with how that has gone. If there are any complaints, there's an appeal process. But by and large, we're very, very pleased. That's not the same thing with the APC primary in Ekiti State to select the governorship candidate of the party. To look at how it all went wrong, if indeed that is the case, but we saw pictures, ballot boxes scattered all over the place, policemen, trying to maintain order. It didn't look like a very ordered situation. So we thought we'd find out from, stakeholders and analysts what exactly was happening. Why did it all fall apart in Ekiti? Let me introduce Barrister Kole Ajayi. He's a former governorship candidate.
Candidate in Accord.
Well, he was a candidate in Accord party, but then was an aspirant
in APC.
In APC. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, and helping me out a bit there was Dr. JIDE Johnson of NIJ.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
As always, Deputy Provost NIJ, we're happy to have you.
It's a pleasure to.
And we shall soon be joined by, shall we say, another, someone else who also has an interest. Mr. Femi Odere will be joining us. He happened to be in Ekiti right through the event. So he had like a ringside seat. But gentlemen, we'll begin before Mr. Odere arrives. Now, if we look at it, Barrister Kole Ajayi, you were an aspirant with APC, but you stepped down, such as political negotiations and bargaining goes. You stepped down for a favored candidate who happens to be Kayode Fayemi, one-time governor of Ekiti State and aspiring to become one again. So you stepped down for him. Now, what, from your perspective, happened before the melee?
Actually, the whole crisis started a long time ago.
Okay.
When there were unnecessary agitations from people that were aspiring to be governors that Fayemi should not run.
Okay. How many aspirants were there for this event?
Yes, 33. 33
people wanted the APC ticket?
Yes, they said Fayemi should not run for no reason. And
what, like a gang up?
It was like a gang up because the man is still a 53-year-old man. He's a young man, and he has his rights for another tenure.
But this whole matter about run or don't run, won't it depend on the votes? That's what the votes are for.
No,
it's the votes who are to say run or don't run.
Yes, I want to tell you what dovetailed into the event of Saturday.
Okay.
Right? There have been serious gang-ups that even has some iota of collaboration with the present PDP government. Let me now, trace it to him. For a long time, the APC chairman, Chief JIDE, has been into hiding for, on issue of anticipated murder trials by the present government. And all of a sudden, about a month ago, the Ekiti State Governor directed the Attorney General to enter the nollie, that is stop trial, for JIDE. And on the same day, that the APC state chairman went on Adaba radio to start lambasting Fayemi, that Fayemi should go out, clear himself from the indictment pronounced by the kangaroo panel set up by Fayose. I mean, you can imagine somebody trying to pull down the roof upon himself. You can smell a rat. So that was the beginning of this.
So the radio broadcast by the governor?
No,
not by the governor.
No. The governor set up a kangaroo panel.
Yes.
To try Fayemi. The panel came up with some indictments against Fayemi, thinking they can use that to stop him. But the law is clear about that. The Supreme Court judgments are clear about that. Obasanjo, Atiku, and all sorts. That is only competent court of jurisdiction that can disqualify anybody from contesting election, right? And of course, legal minds, everything is clear about this. But the PDP government of Fayose was hell-bent in ensuring that Fayemi doesn't run, right? But we could smell some collaborative gang-ups between the PDP government of Fayose and some aspirants, and even the leadership of the APC. So we were surprised when suddenly a nollie prosecute was entered, right, to stop trial and investigation into the murder case against
and that could not have happened. That could not have happened without the knowledge of Governor Fayose, since his Attorney General would be the guy to do
this. On the same day, our chairman went on air and said Fayemi should go and clear himself from the indictment. Okay. Right, so you can see. Okay, let me tell you about Saturday. On Saturday,
because I wanted to ask if, as of now, you have been able to identify those who actually precipitated the crisis.
Yes, on Saturday, what actually happened was that all the aspirants were seated, right? The aspirants' agents were around where the voting per se was actually taking place. And there was an understanding amongst the agents of the aspirants, because each aspirant had an agent present where the voting was taking place.
33 of them?
Yes, that was
it's a requirement.
It's a requirement. So they all agreed that in case there are illiterates and people that had blurred vision that might have difficulty in identifying their preferred aspirant on the ballot paper, that such will signify and mention the name of his preferred aspirant. And by the time that is done, the agent of that aspirant will come to the aid of the delegate and point at, you understand? So when the thing was going on, a lot of all these old men were raising up their hands, Fayemi. Then Fayemi's agent will come, point at Fayemi. Then another Fayemi. Then other aspirants too were having their names called. But Fayemi's names was coming up
much more frequently.
So that was how
they began to get an idea of how this could possibly go.
How this could possibly go. That was why the guy had to move to commit that havoc to disrupt the process.
But we knew where it would go, because April 18, we were on this set, and we did the analysis ahead. I remember how it was captioned ahead of Ekiti primaries, APC primaries, and the PDP primaries, and with Majid, I was here with Majid. It was evidently clear. We said that whoever has the structure of the party, we eventually win the primaries. So it's a function of the structure. And we also said that it is the party that is able to manage its post-primary crisis, because whether you like it or not, they are attending problems with primaries, because you have different groups, different caucuses. Like he said, there were candidates that ganged up. Usually, you always see whether there is coalition or no coalition.
Somebody can call it a gang up, but this is the way politicians they form coalitions.
Any leading candidate, we have people behind him. So it happens everywhere. However, saying the crisis happening in APC, tracing it to fight, it is reductionism, because we know it was, like he said, there are issues that have happened prior to these primaries, you had 33 candidates. I was wondering whether at the Federal Executive Council, they couldn't have a shadow election to determine who will go between Fayemi and Ojudu from two people serving the president in the same cabinet, political advisor. Are you getting my point? So you could see the gladiators involved. So we knew quite all right that it was a catastrophe waiting to happen. Then, prior to the election.
You said before earlier that you recall that you had said it's going to depend on who owns the party structure in Ekiti. Is it your thought that Fayose is the guy? I mean, I beg your pardon, sorry.
No, I said it loud and clear. Fayemi has the structure.
He
was the former governor.
Yes,
and
he still has the structure.
He has the structure of the party.
He has maintained it.
Exactly. You have the structure if you look at the fallout of the election, you discover that it is people that felt they've lost out. Because I told you that day, you recall, that delegate election, we call it in local parlance, delicate. Because you know the result even before the election. You know the result of the election even before the election because you know those that are your own and those that are not your own. So it was evidently clear that somebody was coasting. If you look at from the reactions from the result, one person is saying, you know what, let's continue with the process. Others are saying, let's cancel the entire. So it's an indication from you, from where those that attempt to scuttle the process came from. So it
reminds one a bit of the biblical story about the child disputed between two mothers, and the Solomonic judgment, so-called. And, one said, look, let's kill the thing, let's go back to the beginning. And I said, no. Instead of that, let him go with it. So where are we now, where are we now, Barrister Ajayi, in terms of how to proceed? People are asking for it to be cancelled, as JIDE has just said. Others are saying we can pick up from where we left off. What's the thoughts in the Fayemi camp, for example?
Yes, the feeling of Fayemi camp is that the election should continue from where it stopped. And there's a procedure. There's a legal procedure describing, which body superintends over primaries of parties, and it's the NWC, the National Working Committee. The National Working Committee has come out clear yesterday that the committee has been instructed, the committee handling the primaries, held by Governor Al-Makura, that it should go and continue to conclude the process.
I see.
Right, that is the decision.
Now we're going to show some of those pictures as we continue talking. You see, because how easy will it be to pick up where you left off in the light of some of the things we saw, some of those pictures we saw?
You see, let me come on. You see, the issue is,
ballot papers scattered.
Yes, the issue is.
Okay, let me just take...
This is Ekiti, not Ondo.
Agents alleged that the process was compromised as ineligible delegates were allowed to vote.
Agent, what's your name? Yes, I saw you.
Mr. Go by name.
Yes.
Go by name.
What went wrong? What went wrong?
We got some people there. They said they are not server. Why they are not a server? They don't take them on the paper, showing people. And they put them there, teaching them, they are watching them, everybody's watching them. So,
why you mention the name of an aspirant?
Because the one they are looking for him, they are manipulating for him. The money they are collecting, something is here. I know it very well.
No more primary election again. There's a lot of intimidation here. And through the pilot work.
Then, there was sporadic shooting by security personnel to secure the environment. Efforts by the chairman of the organizing committee, Governor Al-Makura of Nasarawa, to continue with the primary proved abortive.
The process continues.
Two former governors and 3 former senators are among the 30 governorship aspirants testing their popularity at the primary.
Okay, so there we had it. We'll continue our conversation, and you'll notice that there's a third person now, Mr. Femi Odere. He also, in fact, he was in Ekiti during those pictures that you just saw. He has an interest as well, and I think to just up front. It's a matter of coincidence because people arrived before we knew where they pitched their tent. But Femi Odire is not averse to the Fayemi camp either.
No, I'm not.
You know you're not. So good morning, Femi, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
We've just heard a summary of how it all went down and why it went down. You know, you might have. Now the idea is pick up. Well, some people want it to be picked up from where it was, and others are saying the whole thing is compromised. Let's just scatter it. You saw so many angry people there. Do you think this thing can be picked up from where it was left off?
I think, in the interest of fairness, it should be picked up from where it left off.
How are we going to be accurate? Because there's room for untidiness in there.
Well, I'm not sure about any room for untidiness for the simple fact that, as you alluded to, I was there. Yes, the ballot boxes were scattered, you know, by all these hoodlums. I was pretty much in the thick of all these guys too, hearing what they were saying and all of that. But not quite after 5 minutes, the whole ballot papers were collected. So, and that's even aside the point. We're talking about disenfranchisement here. The 5 local governments that have already, the delegates of the 5 local governments.
This whole question of internal democracy within APC.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The delegates of those 5 local governments that have already cast their ballot must actually be counted. I think it's a sort of a natural justice, if you will, you know, for these primary to continue where it left off. Because if it doesn't, then it means that you are giving all these hoodlums and their backers the upper hand, so to speak, that they can disrupt and they can disorganize at their own will. And even aside from that, there should be a consequence as far as I can say, because I mean, you should even be there to see the crowd, you know,
sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
Do you have a notion or an idea of who could be held responsible for this? When Kole was speaking earlier, he said, look, in fact, he said he had to move back a bit, give us something of a background to lead up onto that day. 33 aspirants, all sorts of ganging up. He said that even within the leadership of APC, there was part of that. Even he was not excluding going to the ruling party in Ekiti right now, the governor himself, no less,
yes.
Who naturally will be interested in this whole matter. It does seem like something of a mess, actually.
Well, it is a mess, and there's really no 2 ways to look at it, for the simple fact that on that day, I mean, like I said, I was there. I was basically watching the whole scenario. Before the guy, Badi Boy, I think was his name, I mean, Demola Osha, they call him Osha. There was a back and forth movement, you know, from the track area of the stadium to where the ballot boxes are.
All APC members?
You know, all APC members and their gangs. There was back and forth movements and all of that. And before you knew what was happening, aspirants like Daramola came and, you know, talked. I thought maybe he was just trying to make peace among them. But when you look at that video after the fact, why should aspirants like Daramola, why should aspirants like Ojudu be so comfortable, you know, in the midst of these hoodlums? They look so comfortable, and even aside from that, even Femi Bamishile also was there. I saw all of them. They were just moving, they're just like, you know, laughing, you know.
So you're proposing some sort of a conspiracy theory?
Of course, it was a perfect orchestrated conspiracy theory.
You asked a question concerning internal democracy.
Yeah.
Within the parties, and if
in particular APC, because there have been complaints. APC is the focus right now.
If we say the crisis in APC is caused by, or was caused by Fauci.
Among others. It was just a component.
It was just reduction.
According to the people.
For example, the principal actor that is mentioned in scattering the ballot box is a well-known person within the APC fold. I think
Who is this person, by the way?
I don't know the name. I was not the
I keep saying Osha. Let me give you a brief background of this guy. This Osha was the PA.
I'll come straight back to you.
This Osha was the PA on domestic affairs, whatever that meant, during Segun Oni's administration. Okay. Before then, he was also a PA to Dr. Daramola, the man that got killed during the campaign, the World Bank guy, you know. And subsequently, after Oni administration, collapsed for a while, then he was made the youth leader, as I understand. So he's actually a youth leader of the APC in Ekiti. So that could tell you.
Working for Bamishele.
And he's actually working for Bamishele.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for that background. Thank you for that background. So it's sort of giving us something of a character sketch, if you will, of who we're talking about.
So we all knew, Asiwaju led some Southwest leaders to go to Ekiti before this primaries.
No, they came there. They came here.
They came to Lagos, okay. Now they came to Lagos to see that whoever wins the election, there's no anointed candidate, will go with it. We all knew quite all right what the outcome of the election will look like. And this boils down to the issue you raised concerning internal. Now, is it the
internal democracy issue?
The National Working Committee, this present National Working Committee, we heard from that video, that person said, this is not Ondo. We had crisis-picking candidates in Ondo for APC for the election. Now, there is a crisis concerning picking candidates in Ekiti. And the election was a bit truncated. What I would say concerning that one, you start from where you stop. You don't have to cancel the election. In actual sense, in other climb, if that election had taken place a day before INEC deadline, you know what will have happened? They will have counted the people, the number of people that has voted, and that outcome would determine the primaries. Are you getting my point? So, but my own take is that we knew this principal actor. Nigerian police are not quick to arrest these principal actors in perpetrating what is antithetical to democratic value. Whatever may be the case, democracy is not a do-or-die affair. You win some, you lose some. It might place into your hand today, tomorrow it might place or other come tomorrow. Now, if we are having an election and people that have held offices are comfortable in the comfort of violence, then when they have access to state power, what are they going to use state power to do?
You know the way the theory goes. I think the way the political theory goes is that any party is going to want to put forward its strongest candidate, because apart from its own internal affair of selecting their candidate, it's going to have to go out and meet other teams, right? There's no way you're going to shoot yourself in the foot by putting forward a candidate that is not able to win an election. From what you guys are saying, I think I'm safe in assuming that you think APC's best choice would have to be Kayode Fayemi. For among other things, you said he owns the party structure, he is well known. Now, are you saying for sure that if Fayemi were to be pitted against the rest of the parties in a general election, he would beat everybody hands down?
Of course, that's sure.
Okay.
That's sure, because when you look at it, it's a notorious fact that Ekiti people are now able to compare, between a good governance and bad governance. What we are having in Ekiti today is a governance of masquerade, a visionless government.
That's a very partisan view.
Okay, let me tell you.
We have nothing whatsoever to do with that view. It's a personal opinion, and you must state it as such.
Okay, the issue now is that Fayemi I'm a stakeholder in Ekiti politics. I've been into politics in Ekiti since 1999. I was a foundational member of Alliance for Democracy that eventually dovetailed into APC.
Although you didn't go with them at the time.
Yes, although in 2014 I flew the kite of Accord. And then, of course...
Might that not count against you?
No.
You know, the guy, you can't really be sure about his loyalty.
No,
the guy is
no,
dilly-dallying.
no, because
Exigencies of politics.
No, not that. Because I'm a principled person. And everybody knows me for that. Before I jump into anything, I look at it critically. I don't listen to the noisemakers. I don't listen to marketplaces. I joined the APC 2 years ago. I rejoined the APC 2 years ago. And since then, I've been fully involved in the activities of the party.
Okay, this is your first time. This is your first time in APC.
Yes.
So you didn't rejoin.
No, but AD dovetailed into APC.
Okay.
Yes.
I get the point.
Let me land. Sure. You see, you look at it since, in 2007, Fayemi was given the ticket of APC, ACN then, to run. He won the governorship election. He was rigged out by Segun Oni. Segun Oni was a PDP candidate then.
These are allegations.
No, it's not allegation. I'm just running through. Just to establish the fact that Fayemi is the landlord of APC as we speak.
Okay.
And also that I want to buttress my point that Fayemi will win the election in Ekiti any day.
Say that until the end of the primaries of
Yes.
the party.
Do you know the issue? The issue is that all of them crying foul, all of them coming here to condemn Governor Kayode Fayemi.
Nobody has come here.
All of them running around.
Okay.
Is because of these aspirations to be governor.
Okay.
Right? Most of them were his beneficiaries that benefited immensely from his government.
It was a beneficiary.
No, I know. Yeah, yes, it's a trend.
It's
in politics.
No, it's a trend. But what I'm
of
saying is that Fayemi had his welfareist program is second to none in the history of Ekiti.
Okay.
So that's exactly where I'm going to.
And so
the old people taking the stipends every month will not forget him.
Yes.
The youths that are being into entrepreneurship, taking some stipends every month, would not forget him. All these have been stopped by the present government.
Okay.
Then the YAQUB program, all these things were to put smiles on people's faces.
You see, what you're doing right now is you're campaigning for Fayemi.
Exactly.
Uncle Yori, I was about interjecting that. So we can't go there, but you know for us, I got to go on a break. We'll come back and we'll sort this out, and we're going to include your calls as well. Stay with us, please.
No, I know. Yes, it's a trend.
In politics.
No, it's a trend. But what I'm saying is that Fayemi had his welfareist program is second to none in the history of Ekiti.
Okay.
So that's exactly where I'm going to.
And so
the old people taking the stipends every month will not forget him.
Yes.
The youths that are being into entrepreneurship, taking some stipends every month, would not forget him. All these have been stopped by the present government.
Okay.
Then the YAQUB program, all these things were to put smiles on people's faces.
You see, what you're doing right now is you're campaigning for Fayemi.
Exactly. Uncle Yori, I was about interjecting that.
So we can't go there, but you know for us, I got to go on a break. We'll come back and we'll sort this out, and we're going to include your calls as well. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back, and we're trying to, take a peek inside the crisis in the Ekiti primaries, APC primaries. And gentlemen, I know it's an impassioned subject, but I do want to appeal to, please don't let's campaign for any candidate. You know what amounts to a campaign. We're trying to get at the facts, pending when APC itself will sort out how everything is, then we'll know. I'm sure you understand, gentlemen, because there are, as you just told us, 33, we're talking about Kawade Fayemi and maybe Ojudu. That leaves 31 other candidates. But the whole problem has happened. Most people, my guess is that most people would like it to continue from where it was left off, but perhaps there's not an insignificant amount of people who say, let it go back to the very beginning. This is a problem. You two gentlemen who have said from the beginning that you happen, and by the way, I think you people virtually met yourselves here, even though it just so happens by coincidence that, Femi says that, I'm a Fayemi man, and so does Kole as well. But it's a coincidence that both of you are meeting yourself first time here. Dr. JIDE Johnson is famously not of any side whatsoever. However, he does have a deep knowledge and an interest in what's going on in Ekiti. Now, Dr. Johnson says what fairness will demand would be go back to where we were before we had to truncate, and then keep it on from there. Now, this is assuming that it won't lead to a further crisis in the sense that you're sort of assuming or taking for granted that there was a due and diligent recording of the votes right up to the time things went wrong. Can you really think that?
Uncle Yomi, this is the issue. Were the delegates duly accredited?
They were.
I'm coming. The delegates were duly accredited into the stadium.
Serialized ballot papers.
And the people in the stadium were the people that were actually meant to vote. If that process is established, then why do you want to disenfranchise or cancel the process because some people who are hoodlums made attempt to cut through the process? I tell you this, where from political point of view, from commonsensical point of view, where the program, where the election stopped is where they should continue from, because all candidates were there, and the votes there were no cases of rigging or manipulation prior to the disruption of the process. But you are now saying that, let's say it's a general election, and there were disruptions in some wards. Now you say you are not going to count the votes, or in some local government, you are not going to count the votes.
In mind
Femi, before you continue, have you heard from the party yet? Has the party commented? Yes.
Yeah, the party has commented to some extent, and they have not actually made any final decision as to how the primary is going to go, from whether it's going to go from where it was left off, or whether it was going to be...
Point of correction. The national PRO of the party, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, as stated in a press statement, categorically, that the
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But I think what we really need to also be mindful of is that the National Working Committee has not made any official pronouncement.
And that's the body
that is what we should be actually. Abdullahi can make statement. He's a public secretary of the party, but there has not been any official statement from the national. That's where I'm going.
I think he spoke on behalf of the NWC.
But again, this is
Can
what
you speak for the NWC?
He spoke for the NWC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So statement, he said the NWC will meet today and they will make a categorical statement.
Something like that. But let us try to be fair, to some extent. But then the other thing I want to add to this is the fact that about 27 of the aspirants has already made, again, their own categorical statement that the primary should be, what happened on Saturday should be cancelled, and the whole thing should start.
27?
About 27 of them, yes. They have actually, they have made an,
I don't know, Colin, is this part of the gang up you were talking about?
Yeah.
But see, we've been talking about aspirants and the micro process situation of what happened on Saturday. But we really have not talked about the party itself. And the reason I mention that is that I think the party at the national level is culpable on all of this.
Do you have any evidence for that? Because
no,
being a member of the party yourself,
it's
saying plenty.
You should not have allowed 33 aspirants to begin with.
Okay.
Are you following me? Because you have an organization where rules and regulations
but I thought you
must be
said
followed.
democracy is free and fair, and you people are complaining about lack of internal democracy within the APC. Now people come forward, say we want to aspire. You say no, you can't aspire.
No, that's not the essence of it. See, in an ideal democracy, even in the U.S. democracy that we're talking about, I don't think there's anywhere in the world that there was going to be a primary that about 30-something people will come into the, knowing fully well that almost half, if not more than half of these aspirants do not have any chance anyway. So if you want to gang up, I think the best thing you should have done, knowing fully well, if you want to be honest with yourself, that you cannot even get 5 delegates, the best thing you should have done is to collapse your own so-called structure and team up with somebody that you think has the right chance. And that is where I was going in terms of mentioning the party at the national level, that they should have put some mechanisms in place to make sure that the unworthy lot, did not happen in the first place.
Let me come in first.
It'll be interesting. Okay, let me hear from you, because I want to ask JIDE.
As a lawyer,
yes.
Our laws are very clear about all this. Nobody, except by persuasion, nobody has the right to stop anybody from contesting.
So this is part of the...
Yes, it's the law. It's only a law court.
It is part of the complexity of the situation.
Yes,
because that's the point I was making earlier.
You can even see how
people have complained about internal democracy.
You can even see the number of political parties we are having now.
Yes.
Everything is liberalized.
Exactly.
Right?
The party could have a guideline.
Indeed.
To streamline,
so because what Femi,
the process.
Because JIDE, what Femi seems to be implying is that, he did use the word complicity on the part of, the party at the national level, that they intentionally built crisis into it just by accepting perhaps an incongruous number of candidates.
500,000 naira expression of interest.
Yes.
No, it's 7.5.
I'm calling 500,000 naira expression of interest, that you are expressing your interest, and 5 million naira nomination fee. You see, one of the areas I'm coming, one of the areas that
he said it's 7.5 million actually.
One of the areas we need to restructure is even why would the National Working Committee in Abuja, I'm not sure there's a National Working Committee in the United States that will determine for people staying in New York that this will be your governor. These are some of the areas. We say we practice federalism. But we operate a unitary system, even in the party structure. Because the people in Abuja cannot decide. It should have been the people in Ekiti. If we truly practice democracy the way it should be practiced, the final authority lies with the Ekiti people, the people they have elected into the party system. And this crisis that we have in APC, we have not seen anything yet. In 2014, the party had world congresses. And that's why the party has not been able to hold conventions. Had world congresses at the state level, at the world level, at the local government. There were crises. It's documented. It's there. And as a result of that, they keep postponing the elective congress. And by the time we come to primaries, this issue... Now, this is a fallout of the skill structure of the delegates and the party officers at the local government level. Because whoever has the structure as far back as 2014, because that structure has not been normalized, creates this type of problem. And that's where the National Working Committee, like you say, it becomes culpable, because you've got to provide a level playing ground for everybody. There should. Now, this primary shouldn't have taken place with the subsisting executive, because there are world congresses in all states in Nigeria, in APC, with the exception of Ekiti State. They should have put in the new world congresses to deal with this issue.
Actually, that wouldn't have been, tidy.
Before you continue, let me hear from Mahmud, calling in from Abuja. Good morning, Mahmud.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I want to support the position of Dr. JIDE I am a member of APC, and we have been complaining of this for a very long time. In particularly, you mentioned the issue of reducing aspirants. If we put up the new screening committee, you will see that more than half of these people are not even qualified by the guidelines of APC. The number one, this is a registered member must pick up this. The man in the middle there, I'm very sure, joined APC 2 years. If we check the
that is Mr. Kole Ajayi.
His name will not be there. Yes, Mr. Kole Ajayi. His name will not be on the register list. The APC has register, and the register is right there in Abuja. We have the data bank. If we check the names of these 33 aspirants, I'm very sure those who are there who have their name registered may not be more than 7. This was what happened in Kogi. There were 27 aspirants, and out of these 27, we cross-checked them and said 5 were the only one by the guideline put up by this National Working Committee. I think the solution moving forward is that APC must domesticate all our activities. If you want to run elections in Ekiti, allow the state structure in the Ekiti to undo this. They know this aspirant better. Some of them don't even know the name, one single name of those who are in the ESCO. They just go to the ABUJA, they buy form, and their own interest there is just to gather money. You can see it by resolution of NEC. 40% of money generated are supposed to be given to the state. Ask APC in Ekiti. I'm very sure no one kobo was given to them. This has been the practice. So they are the architect of the crisis in this. And nationally, our President Muhammadu Buhari must begin to put our house in order. If not, I pity what will happen to this party. It is not, we must stop complaining about what goes on in PDP. We have our problem, we should face it, and sincerely we must face it.
Okay.
I remember after the election in Ekiti, I personally sent a text message to Governor Dr. Fayemi, and I advised, now you have lost. Though they may not be the reflection of what should go on, but you must go back and rebuild the party. What those are complaining, the officers there, we've spoken, some of them are colleagues, we've spoken to them, and they are saying the former governor has left the party. All this, you can't come back, and because you have certain influence on this, and this is the thing, though they must go back from the beginning, rescreen this aspirant. Within a day, they can do it.
All right,
and
then.
Bring up those who are genuine registered members of APC, and they did.
Thank you very much, Mahmoud, calling in from Abuja. Okay, you'd like to
I need to
respond
correct him about nobody goes to Abuja to register. Registration takes place, membership registration takes place primarily at the ward level. So Abuja doesn't originate register. I registered in my ward.
The point he was making, I think, is that, since you came in 2 years ago,
yes,
that you wouldn't have been on the register that has been in use because that has not, the structure has not been tampered with since Fayemi days.
But no, I didn't enter to be an executive member. I re-entered to be a member.
Okay.
And immediately I was registered by my ward. And membership mobilization is recurrent. It's on daily basis.
Okay.
And it is just expected of the ward to transmit such names to the state, and the state transmits to national if there's any data bank.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Let me go further about what he's trying to say.
Look, you see, because this is an interactive program, you're going to have to hold on a while, not my fault. OKOROAFOR has called in. Mazi OKOROAFOR, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Yuri. Good morning, our guests in the studio. Honestly speaking, Sir Yuri, if I have my way, all the past governors, senators, House of Rep members, House of Assembly members contesting, they are the problem of the party today. Left for me, none of them will be allowed to contest. You see, this is what we call politics of commotion and confusion. What is happening there? They are increasing the number of political thoughts in this country. Because see how a woman being use his leg and hand and start kicking boxes in the place. In an open place. Now you ask yourself, is that young man, all those boys or those men doing that, are they doing it for their own personality? They are being sponsored. So that is the issue. Because what I've discovered here in Nigeria that people go into politics just to do or that is for their own personal advantage. But if it's for the interest of the public, I don't think such things are. Now, look at, maybe you are a minister, you are supposed to be at your duty post, see what is happening in Kaduna. Somebody's supposed to be there and know what's happening with that man. But people are there, all of them are there, contesting. Where are we heading to? Honestly speaking, they should stop all this issue of political hooliganism because they are increasing the number of political talks in this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. The other thing that I thought I should bring up as we are running out of time, and I know I've been interrupting you, so I'm going to stay with you with this question, is that doesn't APC have to be very, very careful here? Because if it goes into the election with any form of rancor, there might be the political equivalent of demarketing for the party's candidate, where you have people working against the candidate of their party simply because of the sour grapes syndrome.
I don't think that would really...
It would come to that?
No, I don't think it will come to that because just like Doctor said, all these things are not new. They are not new. Crises within and after primaries are not new. Even in Lagos here, where we have relative sanity. Well, of course, when Ambode wanted to emerge, we had a lot of dissenting voices, and of course, there's a leadership that put everything in order as quickly. Look at
the leadership was not a contestant.
No, I knew.
In this case, the leadership is a contestant.
I knew. But you see, look at the Ondo case, Akeredolu and all these, Abrahams and all this. And Akeredolu still won, you know. So you see, even in 2007, when Fayemi won the ticket, there was an efflux of 11 aspirants, you know, going to Oni, and Fayemi got his mandate back, even despite that. So it does not really matter. It depends on the strength of the party. And from what we can see now, APC is our only saving grace in this country.
Okay, APC so strong on ground in APC.
I don't see our aspirants decamping to PDP.
Okay.
Because, I mean, it's going from...
And the candidate that is chosen to represent you is going to be crucially important.
Yes.
I think.
And that's why he has not been throwing stones at other aspirants.
Okay.
Because he knows that eventually, if he wins, he will need their collaboration to win the general
Let me get Samson
elections.
into this conversation in Warri. Good morning, Samson.
Good morning, Professor Okoyori. And good morning, our guest in the studio.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Okoyori, this thing is very simple. I would like to second that motion for Mark this. If I have my way, I'm serious, if I have my way, all of them should go. All these past governor, what are they? See, Uncle, do you know why these politics have come to something else? It's because of the money involved, not because of they want to do anything for anybody. I knew Fayemi very well. If I want a governor...
You know Fayemi very well? Is that what you said?
That's where my mom is from now, Ekiti. So that's what I'm saying. So now, Uncle Yori, they are not going there because of... See, now all those guys are hired now. How much? Maybe 5,000, 50,000. They are turned to political toggery. So the only solution is the money involved. Let them put that as the governor, your salary is 500,000. You will not see anybody there. You will not see them. I'm telling you, all this one they are talking Fayemi is no, we don't need them. They need a neutral person to win that state.
All right.
And I can bet it. If APC should go ahead and bring in Fayemi, they are going to, I swear to out of my village, they are going to lose that election. Good morning, sir.
Well, thank you very much for calling in, Samson. Dr. Johnson, it seems to me that this is something the party has to handle most delicately. You said it, that
it's important for parties to manage primaries.
And they have to be very, very careful with this.
It's important for APC nationally to learn from the mistakes of PDP. The very mistakes that PDP made in managing their crisis internally, APC has been experiencing it on a gradual basis. And it's important for them to nip it in the bud before 2019 election. Because if the people in APC today nationally are populated by people that decamped from PDP. There were 2 governors that contested PDP primaries that are sitting governors now in APC. And so nobody should come to the conclusion that anybody cannot decamp from one party to the other. So it's very, very important for APC to manage that. And the onus of responsibility lies with National Working Committee. They shouldn't handle this case like the way they handled on those issues.
Okay, Mr. Jose in what, Ikorodu?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, Uncle Yoris, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And well done for this good job, sir.
You're very kind.
I just want to register my own, yes. Okay.
Don't listen to yourself. Continue, please.
Okay. You see, this problem we have in this country, we just continue.
No, we're not talking about this country. Ekiti, primaries for governorship.
What happened in Ekiti is the same thing we are experiencing all over. Look at the whole congresses everywhere.
All right.
It's not different from one another.
Okay.
Ekiti primary, Uncle Yori, I understand you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, the talkback, he was listening to that. It does, your own voice seduces you a bit. Look at the point that was made by one of the guys who called in that should Dr. Fayemi indeed be the flag bearer of APC, it could work against the party.
No. That is not true.
You don't subscribe to that?
I don't subscribe to that. Anybody that picks, look, all the people, all the aspirants in APC are very qualified.
Okay.
More than what we have now in PDP. So anybody that eventually gets the ticket will carry the day because the people are tired of the party, the ruling party there.
Yeah, but why can't you guys handle democracy? You know, Femi, what are your thoughts on that? Why can't the people in Ekiti handle democracy properly, internal democracy, especially by a party like APC that says this is the primary thing for us?
Well, before I answer that, Jory, let me quickly make two statements here concerning what has already been discussed. One was what my friend, Dr. Ajayi, already spoke to.
He's a lawyer.
Okay. Already spoke to as to whether or not there's a possibility that some aspirants, might decamp. And he said, not necessarily. See, I would like to kindly, gently disagree with that.
Okay.
For the simple reason that what happened on Saturday was so well planned, orchestrated. It was a gang up.
You don't think it was spontaneous?
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
He has said before that on the eve of the election, everybody knew where the pendulum was swinging. It is clear.
Will, I'm sorry to truncate you because you've said that there was a gang up, it was not spontaneous. I've got to make the time to take in YAQUB as our last caller. Good morning, YAQUB.
Yeah, Shifari, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
And then good morning to the three wise men in the studio because of the time. Shifari, for me, I'm not surprised. I'm not really surprised at all. A station whereby you have a national chairman of the party that is not capable of bringing the party together since when the government come to play in 2015. I've never seen a party chairman at the national that never made sure in every state. When you mention Kaduna, you mention Kogi, you mention Ekiti, you can keep going on and going on. The party leader has the fault. Let me give you another typical example, very quickly. President MAHMUD WARRI set up a committee led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reconcile the political gladiator that is fighting in the party. Do you know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu cried out that the same leader, party chairman at national, did not allow him to function. He only go to Sokoto. After Sokoto, Bola Tinubu stopped to go anywhere, nowhere again. And then this is the result. I can tell you, the gentleman in the studio at the middle, he says that if Fayemi comes to play, the APC, I can tell you, you know where I stand. You know where I stand? APC, the truth must be said here. Whoever the candidate they brought on in Ekiti, they are not going to take that state. You cannot take that state from the Fayose because this is the man of the people.
But Fayose is not running.
If Fayose is not running, I can tell you, Fayose, people love Fayose, and then they can still love whoever Fayose bring on because.
Okay, all right. Sorry, because of time. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Time. I know you guys are making, heavy-duty comments. I don't know. I don't want to debate that particular point. That's his own particular take of the matter. We don't have much more time. In fact, we've run out of time now. And but this is not an impossible problem.
No, it's solvable.
It's solvable.
It's a solvable
with,
problem. And I think that the party should come in and deal with everybody with equity.
That's right.
Once equity is in place, the problem will be resolved, and the earlier they do it, the better.
You probably identify with that.
Yes, yeah. I believe in the ability of the National Working Committee.
Okay.
And I believe that everything will be resolved within the next few hours.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Femi?
You know, I take a slight tack, you know, from the two gentlemen, and that is that the party must be very decisive.
Okay.
You know, in as far as this Ekiti thing is concerned. Otherwise, it's going to blow up.
Oh, thank you very much, you know, for that. You know, Mr. Femi Odere, media professional and political, you know, shall I say, landscape observer.
Whatever it is, thank you very much.
They called you professor. I see that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kole Ajayi, former governorship candidate of Accord Party, now a member, that was in 2014, now a member of APC, and as always, our friend, in fact, our consultant, Dr. Jimmy Johnson. Thank you very, very much.
Pleasure to be with you, Uncle Yori.
Did I say Jimmy Johnson? I remember Jimmy Johnson. JIDE Johnson, not to be compared. They're two different things.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.